Two Jake Oettinger dependent penalties and sloppy play finally catch up to the Stars in Game 5 as the Jets shut out the Stars 4-0 and extend the series back to Dallas for Game 6.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. All of the bad habits by the Dallas Stars this postseason finally rear their ugly head tonight as the Stars get shut out by the Jets 4-0, who extend the series and send it to a Game 6 back in Dallas in just a few days. A very disappointing night from the Dallas Stars. We're going to break it all down on today's episode of Locked On Stars. Jake Oettinger continues to look strong. They just need to take the pressure off of him, and they need to finish this thing off on Saturday. So let's jump right in. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. I do not want to defend the way the Stars played tonight by any stretch. It was really poor from the get-go. The Stars were not sharp in this hockey game. They could never find a rhythm. And I know it's infuriating as fans because we want them to get the job done tonight. And they looked like a team that was playing with a few games in hand here. And that's okay. And it is a bit concerning that the Stars have been shut out 3 times now on the road in the postseason. But we have to acknowledge that the Winnipeg Jets are a really damn good hockey team. They won the President's Trophy for a reason. They won 30 games at home in the regular season. They were virtually unbeatable. They were the stingiest team in the NHL all season long as well. And it was going to be a very tough task for the Stars to beat the Jets 3 games in a row. And Winnipeg came out tonight. They made another statement on home ice, and they live to fight another day. And now the Stars are tasked with responding. And the great thing about this time of year in particular is it's really hard to carry momentum from one game into the other. And the Stars had some nastiness, a bit of edge late in the game. Would have liked to see that a bit more early on, but they started to show some fight. Hopefully they can carry some of that into Game 6, but it's really hard to carry momentum from one game to the next in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And good teams won't allow it. And I throw the Stars out there as one of the good teams. And being outshot like they were tonight is not good enough. They were outshot 35-22. Jake Oettinger, again, was under siege for a large part of the hockey game. But I touched on this multiple times throughout the postseason when Dallas was even winning some of these games, like a Game 4 the other night. They're taking way too many penalties, and it was bound to bite them in the rear. And tonight it did. Winnipeg scores a couple of power play goals, and I know the officiating wasn't that great. The Stars got 4 power plays too, Stars fans. They could have helped themselves out. And at the end of the day, some of the numbers are actually really close. I know this may not provide any solitude for Stars fans, but at 5-on-5, the shot attempts 28-28, shots on goal 17-14 in favor of Winnipeg, chances 17-15 in favor of Winnipeg. Look at the expected goals for at 5-on-5. The Jets 1.34, the Stars 1.58. They had a better expected goals for at 5-on-5. And that's why it's so imperative that Dallas stays out of the box. They've proven they're a better team at 5-on-5, and they've proven they can be more opportunistic. We saw that in Game 4 a bit. The Stars were not the better team for the majority of that game. But when they had their chances, they poured it on, and they had some looks tonight and were unable to get the job done and beat Hellebuck. But also realize, Stars fans, Stars have been an okay team on the road. They haven't been perfect, but they won a game on the road in this series, and now they have a chance to close it out. And don't forget, there's a team that hasn't won a game in the postseason on the road and has a goalie that has looked extremely awful away from Manitoba, and that's Hellebuck. So I wouldn't jump ship. I know it's frustrating, and maybe some of you are not that bent out of shape about the game. I know there are always going to be some overreactions, but the Stars are going to be fine. And if they take care of business in Game 6 and actually start to dictate and pressure the Jets, they should be in good hands. I thought there was just way too much passiveness in the game tonight, and they've been getting away with some of that in the postseason. I think we can be realistic and fair about what the Stars have been, right? Scoring really timely goals and getting really timely saves. And when you're not playing your best and some of those bounces don't go your way, you're not cashing in on some of those opportunities, then it starts to turn the other way and go against you. And after 2 periods, the Stars are only down 1-0 in this hockey game. It ends 4-0, but they're only down 1-0, and the goal they gave up was a fluky goal at 4-on-4. They actually defended it really well, and Scheifele just rips it off of Harley, and it ends up in the back of the net. And then, of course, a couple more penalties right off the hop, and that really dashed any of the Stars' chances of coming back in the hockey game. But they have to stay out of the box. They haven't really been able to do that all series. It's extremely frustrating. And I didn't love all the calls. The holding call early on Steele, the Duchesne interference was a bit of a stretch, but Dallas had 4 power plays tonight. They got 2 in the first, and they managed 1 shot on goal, I believe, on their 2 chances. If you score the first goal, I think that sends Hellebuck and the Jets out of control. I really do, if you're able to get up on Winnipeg. But the Jets looked like a damn good team tonight, and a team that ended up winning the Western Conference and had the best record in the league. And you have to give them credit. They're a really good hockey team, and beating them 3 times in a row was going to be really tough. And for the most part, it looked like what we saw during the regular season between both of these teams. But remember Game 3 after Game 2, Stars fans. Remember Game 5 after Game 4 against Colorado. Stars usually find a way to respond. Pete DeBoer has made the right adjustments, the necessary shuffles. I think the Stars have the opportunity to go to 12-6 instead of riding 11-7 again. Miro Heiskanen looked more like Miro tonight, which is a great sign. And he's still a bit rusty on the power play too. It's still coming back to him, but he looked more like himself. Think you can inject Colin Blackwell back into the lineup, get you a little spark on that bottom 6, and close this thing out. I predicted the Stars in 6 at the beginning of the series. You do not want this game going back to a Game 7. For whatever reason, Hellebuck and the Jets are just a different team. They haven't found a way to win on the road, and maybe they do in a couple of days, right? At some point, maybe they buck the trend, but the Stars have been excellent on home ice. And the numbers that I read off to you, I think are still encouraging, because you and me both probably thought the Stars stunk tonight. They were just disappointing, not very sharp. Sagan hit the pipe today. Johnston missed a wide open net late. It didn't happen for them. And sometimes that happens, but I think the Stars are going to be fine. Good teams will not allow this to carry over into game 6, and they should be able to finish off a Winnipeg team that even when they're giving Dallas their best, like the Stars are right there. The first 2 periods, Stars didn't really have much outside of the 2 power plays, and they're down 1-0, and it was a fluky goal. I believe Dallas is still a good enough team, and they still have a deep enough group up front, but they gotta test Hellebuck more. Again, 22 shots. When you have a goalie that's just kind of in his head, you have to test him more. They have to test Hellebuck in the Jets. They have to pressure. Too much sagging tonight. Just allowed Winnipeg to go at them. Allowed the Jets to dictate play, and the Stars were defending too much. They were having to defend for too long of periods that they weren't able to really get a sustained forecheck going or any sort of offense that was sustainable in the hockey game. So they have to respond. And again, look at 5-on-5. The numbers are pretty similar. And the Stars were kind of meh tonight. Not even meh. They were really bad. But I think they're going to be fine. I really do. I really, really do. And Jake Oettinger has been a stone wall for the most part. It's been extremely good. And they can lean on him in game 6, but also take the pressure off of him. Let's talk about Jake Oettinger and why he has been the spine, the backbone of the Stars this postseason run, and he'll need to do it one more time to finish off the Jets. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's game-winning shots or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off, and live action player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. You got to think about those big moments. Watch it as it unfolds. And how would you like $200 in bonus bets to add to the excitement if your first $5 bet hits? There you go. Go to FanDuel right now. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you for joining us on Locked On Stars on this Thursday/Friday edition. Your team every single day. Stars fall to the Jets in Game 5, 4-0. Third time they've been shut out in the postseason, which is a bit bonkers for all the weapons they have at their disposal. And I noticed this too, and maybe this just is what the Stars are a bit, but I'm curious your thoughts as well before we really dive into Jake. But Dallas just feels like a team now that is more counterpunch and opportunistic than like that heavy possession team like we saw over the last few seasons. And some of that may because of the Mikko Rantanen acquisition. There was a really good article on ESPN. Maybe we'll get to it before Game 6 over the weekend because it talks about Dallas acquiring Rantanen and Pete DeBoer mentioning how they have to sort of play different style to suit maybe Rantanen or just suit what Dallas is now, because they have an elite scorer, elite playmaker like Mikko. And maybe it was just an off night tonight because they weren't playing with the puck and they just seemed like they were going to wait for Winnipeg to make mistakes and try to pounce on them rather than force the issue. And it's not a very sustainable way to live, if you ask me. I don't think being outshot like they have been on the road and forcing Otter to be almost perfect is the recipe or blueprint to try to win games, but it's worked okay through the first 2 rounds. They have 7 wins, but they got to finish him off now. But Jake Oettinger, has been superb. And I would like the team in front of him to just show some life on Saturday, because they're hanging him out to dry a bit too much in these performances. And it really goes back to game 4 against Colorado, and then games 2 and 5 now, where he's working his butt off to keep the Stars in the game. He was so darn good in that first period. He stopped all 11 shots that he faced. The expected goals tonight in all situations, 4.42. That's extremely, extremely high. I don't know if Winnipeg had above 3 in any game at 5-on-5, or maybe even in all situations throughout this series. I can go back and check that. But they have to take some of the pressure off Otter. He has stood on his head way too many times already this postseason. It's now time for Dallas to return the favor a bit, in my opinion. So let's look at the expected goals for all situations in each game this series. Winnipeg, 2.77 game 1, 3.69 game 2, 2.59 games 3, 3.37 in game 4, 4.42 here tonight in game 5. So clearly the highest mark. And the previous was game 2, where Dallas got shut out again 4-0. And that was 3.69. The chances were much more in favor of Winnipeg in games 2 than it was tonight. But as I mentioned, at 5-on-5, the numbers were eerily similar. But I just think Jake has been incredible at holding the Stars in. And I thought it was going to be one of those nights where he was just going to hold them in for as long as he could. And eventually Dallas was going to find a rhythm, because I thought they were awful in the first period, maybe their worst period of the series. And they were going to get into their game, and it just never happened. And maybe some of that is Dallas. I think a lot of it just is Winnipeg's a good team. It's going to be hard for the Stars to just really take it to Winnipeg in long stretches. And we haven't even seen that in some of their wins. It's been third periods where Dallas has thrived in this series and closing out the Jets. 3-2 heading into the third period in game 1. Otter was phenomenal in that one. He's really been the Stars' best player this entire series. And I know Rantanen has a hat trick, and Granlund does as well. But Jake Oettinger is the Messiah, so to speak. The Stars are going to live and die with Jake. And if they just give him some run support, 1 or 2, you feel like you're going to win, because he's been that locked in. But if you continue to load up their power play, you're just asking for it. 4 power play, or 5 power plays tonight for Winnipeg. But the penalty minutes, 26. And I know it was added on because of the 10-minute from Jamie Benn. And I'd like to see that a bit out of the Stars, just to have a little fight, because they didn't have very much of it in the first 2 periods. But even in their 3-1 win the other night, they took 6 penalty minutes. Like 3 power plays is just too much. And it's just been a steady dose. Marchment has been very disappointing for me in this series. But again, Jake Oettinger has mopped up so much of the BS and some of the sloppy play. And I know he gave up 2 power play goals early in the third period, but one was a 5-on-3. And I tweeted before the 5-on-3 commenced, it was night. It was a matter of time before the Jets made you pay. And you could just feel the momentum start to really swing early in that third period. And credit to the Jets for finally capitalizing on their first, 3 opportunities before that. Like, Dallas was damn good again. I'm honestly shocked every time I see Dallas just work the Winnipeg power play. And Otter is a big part of that. I mean, good night. The amount of saves he had was incredible on the man advantage. I want to see the numbers specifically on the power play. How many shots did the Jets have? They had 13 shots. 13 shots on the power play. And Dallas had 5 in their 3 opportunities. Even shorthanded, Jets had 5 shots. It was a sloppy game all around from Dallas. And I've stated this before. That's why I try not to take a ton of stock. I know it's something, but I just don't think it's the whole story for Dallas, because they've proven that this is not who they are for the most part, and they've responded incredibly well, especially Otter after losses. They have not lost 2 games in a row yet this postseason, and it's time to finish it off on Saturday. You do not want to go back to Winnipeg for Game 7. And yes, I know Peterborough is 9-0 and undefeated, but let's not play with fire and take them out. How to do that, we're going to discuss in just a moment. Alrighty, time for the Stars to close this thing out on Saturday. And I think deep down, a lot of us thought that was going to be the case. I didn't have a ton of optimism. I just think Winnipeg is a good team, and they weren't going to go down quietly like some of the other teams have, down 3-1. But the official game time has been announced, 7 o'clock puck drop. So it's a normal game time on Saturday. ABC, ESPN, all that good stuff on Saturday for Game 6. And hopefully the Stars can finish it off. But they cannot continue to play this very passive style. I don't know if it was just a Game 5 thing, or maybe this has been happening for the whole series and it just wasn't effective tonight. But I'm just noting Dallas is sort of loading up the neutral zone and just sort of allowing Winnipeg to come downhill at them. I don't know, again, if this is something, maybe they've been employing this, and I know they have to some degree, to try to clog up the neutral zone and not allow Winnipeg speed through the blue lines, but wasn't very effective tonight. Winnipeg was just coming one after another with really no resistance through neutral ice. So I would like to see Dallas just pressure up the ice a bit more and force their defense to make some plays. Like, there's some guys on their back end that aren't the greatest puck movers in the world, like Shen and Sandberg, who I thought had a solid game tonight, but I just thought they were way too easy on Winnipeg, and they have to have a heavier and more, I guess, aware forecheck, right? Like they have to force some issues up the ice instead of allowing Winnipeg to get to the red line. And I know they're just trying to force the Jets to dump the puck in, and when they do that, Stars are pretty successful, because I think they've done a pretty decent job of retrieving and making plays out of their own zone for the most part, and even tonight a bit. But after a while, it just became too much, and you saw a lot of high flips. Dallas wasn't able to connect a lot of passes because the Jets could sense the Stars around their heels a bit, and they really started to go after them. So Dallas has to dictate the play, right? Tyler Seguin said after the game, it's about going back to Winnipeg. He goes, for sure, it's a long flight. So definitely after more urgency to avoid coming back here, he was asked. And given how Winnipeg played so well at home, he goes, for sure, it's a long flight. So definitely. Isn't that the case? I'm sure Dallas does not want to go back to Winnipeg. So they have to to push and actually force the issue, because they're a dang good team at 5-on-5. And I've said it all postseason long, but stay out of the box. It's the unnecessary penalties in the series in particular that are driving me up a wall. And Marchman's been in a bit of those, been a little bit. How Dallas got a power play after that whole scrum where Ben popped Scheifele in the face, I don't know. But Winnipeg got a power play after the one kerfluffle behind the net earlier in the frame was a bit odd. I don't know. It was just weird all the way around. I don't know if that's going to hurt Jamie in the long run. I thought that could possibly lead to a suspension of some kind. He got a good pop. And so I'm curious if there's going to be any discipline, although we haven't seen any discipline so far from the NHL. But I was curious because I saw in the scrum, and they didn't mention this too, and why I think Ben was so angry and popped Scheifele. Again, this is just from my perspective. It looked like Scheifele may have given Jamie a kick when they were both on the ice in front of the Dallas bench, like may have popped him with his blade a bit. I think that's why Ben got up so angry and popped him. Go look at it back. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker here, but I'm watching it again here on X. And sorry for the sound. It looks like Scheifele kicks out his right leg when they're on the ice. And I think that's why Ben got really, really upset. Again, maybe I'm attributing nothing, but I didn't look. Like, who cares at that point? I think it's good that Dallas is showing some fight. You also have to be careful not to give the Jets anything to fuel them for Game 6. But at the end of the day, I think if you're Winnipeg, and if you're the Stars, you have to think like Dallas needs to come in with the mindset, this is our game to lose. This is our game to lose. There should be doubt in Winnipeg's minds. They haven't won a single game on the road, right? They're going to have the doubt. I think if you're Dallas, yes, it feels like the Stars have pressure on them, but they really don't. Stars have been great on home ice. Hellebuck's been a completely different goaltender, and the Jets have not shown any really success in terms of wins on the road. They played pretty well. They played really well in Game 4 and maybe didn't get the result, to be fair. But they have more doubt, and I think they have way more pressure than Dallas does at this point. If it gets flipped back to Game 7, there's some more pressure on Dallas. But they should go in with a clear mind. We're on home ice. We can take it to them. We're a great team. Winnipeg doesn't really know what they have on the road for whatever reason, and let's go finish it off on Saturday. That's where I'm at with the Stars, and I think they can get the job done, and they should be able to respond. And I look forward to taking it all in on Saturday night. So yeah, there you go. That's my breakdown of a Game 5, and hopefully inspiring Stars fans into Game 6. AAC will be rocking, and Dallas just likes to close out series at home. That's just what they do for whatever reason. They like to have a little drama for the home fans. So there we go. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Thank you for making us your first listen. It's your team every single day here on Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Stars fans, have a great day as we kick you off into your weekend. We'll be back with an episode after Saturday and hopefully discussing a Stars victory and off to the Western Conference Final. Have a great day. So long, Stars fans.